if you had to pick right now, Andy, Tennessee or Texas, who are you going with? Hook 'em, baby.
Hey, you can throw
Hook
that
'em.
in there somewhere. We could talk about how I'm just riding the wave of whoever's winning.
All right, here we are, another episode, and the Four Bros are here. Welcome to the Four Bros podcast. As always, you got myself, Brandon, you got Brian, and you have Andy is with us. Andy, it's been a
Welcome
while,
back.
but you're back. We're here.
Here
I'm
I
glad
am.
I'm glad to have you here. We are missing Matt, so at some point, we will have all the Four Bros back. But Andy is here. Glad you're here. Got a couple things we want to go over in this episode. It's been a while. I think it's been about a week since our last episode, maybe a little over a week. But football season is here. It is upon us, fellas, and we are in full swing. Football season. That's what we want to talk about today. Got a lot of things to go over, though, as far as we are going to hit some high school football, but there has just been some craziness, which you've seen all over the internet, of the decision to transfer from Florida to Georgia as a fan, and that almost ruined college football. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. First thing we want to jump into is some little bit of high school football. Cairo took on Cook County High School last week, and Cairo came out with a win. We traveled all the way to Adel and beat those guys 27-10. So really good game going into a bye week this week, and so we got a chance to get healthy and then have another rival game next Friday night against the Bainbridge Bearcats. I believe it's been 7 years or maybe even 8 years that Bainbridge has had our number and has beaten Cairo those years in a row. And so Cairo is looking to get that monkey off their back and take home a win in the Bainbridge-Cairo rivalry. It has been some years, but we are ready for it. So I want to jump right into that Cairo-Cook recap. I thought we were all three were there, and kind of a simple Cairo fashion. Kind of started a little slow, got our feet under us, and really started to get going. I'm probably going to say this every episode that we recap Cairo, but Brian Duncan is a problem. Okay, gentlemen, this man's a problem in a good way. This man is doing damage. Had a little over 200 rushing yards again. I think he's like, if he keeps this pace up, he's going to bust 1,000 yards rushing wide open, and he's going to continue to break some records for sure. But again, still heavy on the run. But I think that's kind of like our MO this year. Like, we're just a run heavy team. But when you got a guy that rushes for over 200 yards, why not? Why wouldn't you? And so Brian just kind of does it all. And I thought our defense did better. I mean, again, holding them to 10 points is pretty good. So. It was a cool little atmosphere. I've never been to Cook County. I know y'all have their PA announcer is hilarious. That was a wild scene.
You can
But
get nacho cheese,
anyways,
extra nacho cheese
yeah,
for
like,
$1.
he was calling out orders from the concession stands during the middle of a play and raffle ticket numbers. It was a wild scene. But anyways, good to see a 27-10 win. Brian, what were your thoughts from a football perspective? How Cairo did and how they handled the traveling and just the Cook County game overall?
Yeah, I personally thought it was. I'm careful with high school football to say must wins. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bunch of kids, and things happen, and it's hard to judge how those things are going to turn out. But I really did think we needed that win from a confidence standpoint. When you look back, and I've mentioned this to you guys before, you go all the way back to last year. We had lost 6 times that we had been on the field in a row, but we had played good teams now. You play Bainbridge, you play a playoff team, and then you go Irwin and Worth and Central and Thomasville. And then you get the big win against Kathleen, but, nobody's really putting a whole lot of stock in that because they were badly outmanned by Cairo. And then, so you go into Adel, a quality program that has rich history, very, very much like Cairo in a lot of ways. Really cool atmosphere, like you said, just beautiful facility up there. One that I thought we needed, and like you said, we started slow. We started slow and just couldn't really get anything going on the offense, and then we really started putting it in directly in Duncan's hands, and he certainly opened it up for us. He's a special kid, man. You're starting to see some rankings come out for his graduating class, and he's up there, man. He's gonna.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning of the attention this young man is going to get, and he is very deserving of it. But I will caution all Cairo people: it's going to take more than him, right? You can't you can't hang an entire program on one individual. I mean, at the end of the day, the workload that he's carrying is massive. And it's what we have to do.
Both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he's playing both sides. He's playing special teams. I mean, as long as he has his breath, he's out there. So, super happy for him, and he certainly is the difference maker for us right now. But hoping in this bye week we can maybe get our legs under us a little bit. Maybe the weather will cool down a hair, and then we'll get into region play. And I'll say this, man, I don't want to get too much into the Bainbridge game. I know we'll talk about it more next week, but, man, you talk about a game that our program needs. We need this one. We really need to beat Bainbridge. I think they're, I'm not beating them down, but I think they are down this year. And when you look at what their middle school teams are doing, we might want to get this one.
Yeah. You can always kind of tell how a program is doing or how they're going to be in future years. I know it's hard to look at a middle school and judge it on that, but yeah, their middle school teams are doing some work down there, and they're doing well. And so, but we got a time. And what's cool about Brian Duncan is him being a sophomore. So, you got him for at least 2 more years, hopefully. So, and we do have a pretty young team. I think I try not to be critical about our defense because there are times where we're very good in the trenches. We're very good of loading the box up and stopping the run when we need to. But then sometimes we can leave a seam open and we can kind of get burnt and beat on a pass play or two. But then I also take into consideration, and not trying to be overly critical, but we do have a young, just as like we have young guys on the offense with Brian Duncan and all them, we also have young guys on defense too. And then you got guys like Brian who are playing both sides of the ball. So I look to see Cairo even maybe next year or even that senior class in 2 years to be in a very, very electric group. And so I just hope they continue to stay together, hope they continue to fight for wanting to be a Syrupmaker and make the logo proud. But, like you said, too, I don't think it's a must-win, but it was great to win. So I think that puts us at a 2-2 record. And Bainbridge is a region game, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is. So that'll be – so we get a week off. So we have this week off, and then next week we hit it hard. And that Bainbridge game will be a home game this year. So that'll be good for us, and that's going to be a big crowd for them, hopefully big crowd for us. We'll have to be loud, be present. And so what have your thoughts been? We haven't really talked about this much. This is a question I'll throw out to both of y'all because, we all sit together. But since the Central game, have you noticed our and not necessarily because of the Central game, but it's just been since the Central game, have you noticed our crowd being a little bit louder, especially when we're on defense, or has it been about the same for you? Andy, you can go.
I kind of noticed, we kind of talked about this. We might have talked about it with each other more than anything, that how a lot of the people in the stands, they're just sitting there and just looking like let's interact with these kids. They're over here looking at us, and you're just looking back at them. Stand up, make some noise, cheer them on, pump them up. They feed off that. They love that
feed
energy.
Off of that.
And I believe, look at how we played Central in the first, quarter and a half. And I literally looked around, and, everybody was just sitting there like, okay, you're just here to be here. Like, I understand your kid might be a cheerleader, your kid might be in the band, but you're still at the event. We got to get up. We got to support all these kids out here that are on the field whatever time they are on there. If the band's out there, stand up and cheer for the band. If the cheerleaders are
Yeah.
over there trying to get you pumped up, follow suit. I mean, that's their job. Let's help them out a little bit. So,
Man, I remember back in it had to be like 2006, 2007. It was when we were on the rise. Like it was getting exciting. We knew we had a good team. It was kind of the same feel. Now I was a lot younger back then and a lot less tame as far as like watching what come out of my mouth. And I remember standing up at a home game right there where we all sit now. I remember standing up at a home game and yelling at the top of my lungs, "We're not at a funeral, we're at a football game." Like I remember doing that. Like I was like raising my hands trying to get people to stand up and cheer. And dude, it's wild that you have to beg people. Like you're coming to the football game. You know what you're coming to,
Yeah.
right? And then to beg people just to, and I realize like everybody's not gonna be up, going insane. But hey, shake a cowbell, blow one of them horns that are circulating around, hit the thunder sticks, whatever you got, make some noise, help the team. It matters. It matters to the kids. Like you can,
it does.
Oh, yeah.
even this year, I would say the Thomasville game has been the best atmosphere, and it made a difference. When, we kind of got the breath knocked out of our lungs right there in the beginning. But then, man, when Duncan broke a couple of those runs and got us back in it, man, it makes a difference to the kids, if nothing else. It might not make a difference on the scoreboard. It might not be the difference in winning or losing the game, but it means something to the kids. And, to see the community showing up and turning out like that is special. And all of us have played sports. Like, you know what it's like to play in front of a crowd that's uninterested, and you know what it's like to play in front of a crowd that's interested. It's two totally different things. So, I would just encourage Cairo folks, man, hey, you ain't gotta go and act silly and embarrass yourself, but stand up on third down when we're, trying to get a defensive stop, Stand up and clap and cheer along. Everybody can say defense. You know what I'm saying? Every little bit of volume helps. So, yeah, I would love to see us, especially in that Bainbridge game, man. It could be such a turning point for our program and our season. Man, let's go get this one. And I think as a community, we need to have that mentality too. Like, let's show up and blow these jokers out of West Thomas Stadium.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, if y'all need some cheering lessons, y'all come and watch Providence softball game on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Hey,
Them people
amen to that.
Get you fired up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when you and we've playing sports and stuff, you know, in this environment, I've had cool opportunity to play in some large venues with a lot of people, and this is just for baseball, not even for football. But when you have a lot of people cheering for you and it's a home game, man, it pumps you up. And then on the flip side of it, if you want to know how the visiting side feels, I've played in some big venues where I'm not the home team and they're getting loud and going crazy. You're like fighting two battles. You're like battling the team you're playing and you're also fighting the crowd. And I'm talking, this is just baseball. So imagine football. It's even louder. It's even crazier. And so, yeah, if we just get up and, because we've talked about too of like, man, we would love to see the football team in the community more and interacting with the community more. How about the community? We interact with the football team. Like let's
right.
get up with these guys. Let's get them pumped up. Like, instead of begging them to come to the community, we'll bring the community to them. And we sit close enough to the sidelines to where our little section, because the three of us, we got loud mouths, we get loud pretty quick. And in our little section, and all of our kids are ringing cowbells and blowing those horns, and those horns are so loud. Oh, my word. Bo about to kill me with that thing. But it gets so loud right there, and you can see, like, the guys, the football, I mean, they turn around and they're looking and they're like, oh, wow, like these guys are into it. And so just imagine come next Friday night against Bainbridge, if we just get that place jumping and rocking, that'll be awesome.
Dude,
so if
there's
you're
a
watching
reason.
this and you got nothing to do next Friday night when Cairo takes on Bainbridge, come out to West Thomas Stadium, 7:30. Be loud. And let's throw a party up in there, and let's give them what they got. So I'm excited. Again, glad to see Cairo get the win over Cook, start region play, taking on Bainbridge, and so we really need to get this thing going on the right foot. I don't want to say that these first four games don't matter, because They do. They do. They build a lot of confidence, and I think we're trending in the right direction. I think, with the first two games in Central and Thomasville, we went toe-to-toe with two heavy-hitting teams. I think we really scared Central in the first half of that game. And, of course, they're just a whole different breed. They're playing some really good football right now, but they're fixing to walk into a very daunting part of their schedule as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Thomasville as well, they are I think they're number one for their classification in the state, or close to it, top 5 at least. And so and took them to overtime. And so, but to have 2 wins like this back to back, I think that's going to breed a lot of confidence, getting the week off and then going after these guys in the Bainbridge game. So it almost kind of feels like the way things have played out and where this off week has fell, it's almost like a reset for the guys. And you can take the confidence in from the last 2 wins, reset, and get ready just to attack Bainbridge.
Yeah.
I'd love for us to throw a 50-piece on them. That'd be awesome. So that'd be great. But so shout out to the boys. We'll see you guys next Friday, 7:30, West Thomas Stadium. It's going to be lit. Bring cowbells. Bring a lot of noisemakers. Bring yourselves. It's going to be great. So now we want to jump up, get into some college football. And since he hasn't been here in a while, Andy, we got to address the elephant in the room. Boy, the Seminoles is not, but they're not hitting. They're not hitting.
They doing nothing.
0-3. 0-3.
Oh.
Some
It's a far cry from 11-1, ain't it? Picked them at 11-1. It's a far cry from that.
Yeah, that's not happening this year. Just came off a tough loss to Memphis there, and it just, so Brian and I, what we want to do, just you being a Florida State fan, haven't been here in a while, we just kind of want to ask you where your headspace is at, where you are at with all of this, some perspective things that I've taken away from watching Florida State in these last 3 games with Georgia Tech, Memphis, and who'd they play in between there?
Boston College.
Who'd they play? Boston College. Boston College, that's right. I think all 3 games, they're losing on the line, offensive line and defensive line.
Yep.
But
I agree with that.
I don't know. As a Florida State fan, Andy, where are you at with all this? What's your perspective? What are you gathering, and what are your thoughts as Florida State sits 0-3?
My thoughts are: is Willie Taggart back in the house? It's like a repeat. It's deja vu, man. It's just like here we go again. Like here it goes again. What are we doing? I still don't agree with, which I told y'all from the beginning. I didn't like DJU being there, and now he's there, and he's proving my point. I don't think he's. I don't even know the word for it. I don't think he's a quarterback. Dude should be playing like defensive end or something. But I don't know, like the buzz around Tallahassee. I've been down there once, which I don't, go down there to hang out or anything. But we went down there once, and you can just tell that atmosphere is different. Because last year when they were winning, they got to like 3 or 4 games and were still undefeated. Dude, the buzz around the town, everybody was wearing their shirts, everybody was wearing their hats. And then we went down there the other day to pick up something, and it's just like ghost town. Nothing. I don't know. A lot of people were really hyped up about this season. I kind of felt like it was going to be a rebuilding year just because of the fact that so many players left, and I didn't expect it to be like this. And, I feel like Norvell was kind of ahead. He was ahead of the curve a little bit on the transfer portal thing, but now here we are. We're like this. Yeah. We've evened out, and I don't know. I don't know.
Florida, this start has kind of been weird. Like I know a few people that are pretty ingrained, like in the boosters and supporting of FSU, and I even heard some comments. I was away at a meeting last week of these people. I don't know them personally, but I ended up at lunch and heard a conversation, and they are some pretty big players in FSU boosters, and man, you're sitting there 0-3, but I don't hear people like jumping up and down, like fire Norvell, get Norvell out of here. Like, I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are laying this on DJ's shoulders, and I think you're starting to hear, and I'm hearing it more and more, it's not just DJ, it's the entire offense. I watched part of that Memphis game. Dude, he was hitting receivers like in the hands and the chest, and these dudes just stone cold dropping it. Now, I'm not saying that 1 or 2 plays are going to turn FSU's program all the way around, but at the end of the day, if you look at the games, it's not like they're getting 50 points hung on them like you see some of these other teams
Right.
giving up. I mean, you've given up 24, 28, and 20. You know, you win most of those games if you just have a living, breathing offense. So I think what's going on in Tallahassee, and again, the fact that your offense is as bad as it is, usually that causes the defense to wear down and to give up more than they even should. So when you look at it, if there is any positive to take from it, like me personally, I think you just got some major offensive woes at Florida State. I think, Norvell is still a quality guy. I think we might need to be talking about the OC. I think we might need to be talking about moving away from DJ and planning for the future. Like, those are the things. And I guess I should say this. Maybe that's why people aren't panicking when it comes to Florida State like they are with some other programs. I just 0-3 sucks, right? I mean, let's don't. I mean, nobody expected Florida State to be 0-3, right? Florida State should not be 0-3, but you are, and it's because of the offense. At the end of the day,
Well, I agree with that, but at the same time, I do not agree with a lot of the people that are calling out DJU. Like, it's not just this man's fault. I understand he is who he is what he is, he's going to be what he is for the rest of his life. But when he has had time to sit back there in the pocket and look and make decisions, he's come away with some good plays. Now, you can't count the ones that the receivers dropped on their own, but it's the whole team. I mean, the first couple of games, it really, to me, just looked like they just did not want to be there. They don't care. This is my opinion. I feel like they've already been paid, and they don't give a flip about nothing. Like, you already paid me. I'm just going to go through the motions till the year's over. And, speaking on the offensive coordinator thing, he was suspended for 3 games. Now, how much can you put that on the offensive play? So you're telling me if he comes back next week against Cal, the offense is just going to start exploding?
Wait. The offensive coordinator has been suspended?
He was suspended for serving he had a 3-game suspension.
So he hadn't even coached this year?
He has not
Like
coached
in a
this
game?
year at all.
Wow,
Okay.
I didn't know that.
I'm trying to remember why he was reinstated Monday after serving 3-game suspension for NCAA violations. Now, that has come
Dude,
across my mind a few times, but still, like,
I don't know how all
can't
that
tell
works,
me
but that could be a major player. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, the head coaches in college football get all of the flack and all of the praise, but I'm telling you something, buddy. Them offensive defensive coordinators, you better believe they make a difference. I mean, I would that is very interesting. I didn't know that. That is very, very interesting.
Yeah, so that might be that could be a slight difference maker come into this game against
this
Cal.
weekend will be 7:00 in Tallahassee. Cal Bears coming to town.
So here's the little spread on that. So Florida State, as of right now, at the time of this recording, sits at a -2.5 favorite for this game. Not great odds, all right? Not very widespread odds there. The over/under is like 44.5.
Right.
So, they're calling for like a low-scoring ball game.
23-20.
Yeah, that's what they're calling for. But -2.5 against Cal. Now, this is the same Cal team that just beat Auburn. But let's backtrack a little bit there. Auburn had a terrible game against Cal. I think they had 5 turnovers.
Sure.
Quarterback didn't show up, basically. Bad game. And then to Brian's point too, I've always asked Florida State fans around me, hey, do you think it's time to panic? And I've even asked you that. And everyone's kind of said the same thing. No, not really. We don't panic because you just came off an undefeated regular season. You went 11-1 on the year. Got snubbed from the playoffs, but let's just be honest. That was just because Jordan Travis was injured. Jordan Travis was the offense last year.
But that's another thing I don't understand. I don't want to cut you off, Brandon, but you look at last year with Jordan Travis running the offense, Mike Norvell as head coach. I feel like Travis fit his offensive schemes. Now you got DJU standing back here is probably more of a pocket passer. Dude is not running. Like I saw him run a few times, but he looks like he got bricks on his feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how much does that affect the offense? To me, I think Norvell needs a running quarterback that can throw, not a passing quarterback that possibly could run a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if that's what they were thinking they were getting with DJ was a dual threat.
they don't have no game film.
Kind of fits.
Like they got zero game film from the last 3 years.
kinda-
Or, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember how much or how successful he was at Clemson or really at Oregon State, but
Same amount of
I don't
wins we
know,
got.
man.
0.
He struggled at both places, really. I mean, they were calling for his head at Clemson, and at Oregon State, he just kind of got the opportunity to go out there and get out of the spotlight for a minute and kind of just hang on to his name. But he's.
Did you think from the very beginning he was just overhyped, like from the jump?
I do.
Dropped him.
I mean,
He's overpumped. Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
you
he
still
came.
think, though,
So you got to go back to the high school that he came from, St. John Bosco up in New Jersey, one of the top 10 high school football programs every single year. What happens sometimes? What happens is that the talent around you in high school can make you look really, really good. And I think what in DJ's case, that's what happened, right? You look at somebody like and listen, like Cartersville High School in Georgia is an incredible program, has been an incredible program. Trevor Lawrence took Cartersville and elevated them to an entirely new level when he was there. You know, you look at like a Deshaun Watson, took a Gainesville program and elevated them to a totally different level when he was there. DJ was on a program that was already like, dude, that school up there is absolutely loaded. So for him, he probably never was touched by a defensive lineman. You know, he is athletically gifted. He's a D1 athlete, but he had horses all around him in a state that's probably not crazy competitive, but they play a national schedule and have success. But I think a lot of times on those kids, they're easier to miss on because they have the high school numbers and the high school accolades. But at the end of the day, DJ, he didn't turn out to be the guy, you know?
Yeah, he's not it. But Andy, though, you kind of stand by that statement of it's not time to panic yet as a Florida State fan. Or are you ready to switch up?
I mean, I'm not going to switch it up right now, but you can ask me. You can ask me who I'm watching. I'm not going to play on my Saturdays around watching Florida State football like I did last year. I can guarantee you that. So you ask me what I'm doing Saturday, I'm going to tell you I'm watching them Longhorns, baby. Let's go. Look.
Here we go.
Here
we go. Well,
here's what we started.
I'm paying. This is who I'm paying attention to. I'll tell you this. I'm watching Texas, I'm watching Georgia, and I'm watching Tennessee. Those three are the ones I'm paying attention to.
1, 2, and 6.
1, 2, and 6, baby. We all.
What a blessing! What a blessing that must be for your pool of teams to be 3 of the top 6. I mean,
hey,
what a world we live in.
You of all people know I was talking about them Longhorns last year, so
I know.
Just be real.
I know. And you want to talk? Can I just say this?
And I'm not going to.
Texas is good.
I'm not.
Texas is good. Quinn Ewers is good. Arch Manning is going to be an absolute problem.
That kid's phenomenal.
Problem.
Yeah. And they don't know how long Quinn Ewers is going to be out. They're saying he may be out but they're like not missing a step with like losing Quinn Ewers. You bring in Arch Manning.
They may be better. That dude is nuts.
That dude's.
Yeah. They have 2 quarterbacks on the Heisman watch list. Arch Manning has now crept his way on the Heisman watch list. Yeah, how do you have 2 quarterbacks on the same team on the Heisman watch list?
Didn't he also get the largest NIL deal out of the country, out of everybody?
Probably,
I think he did. I think he did.
He does. Probably. He's special, man. He really is. Good gracious. Yeah.
But Andy said, "Hook 'em, baby, hook 'em."
Man, I ain't even studying this junk. I'm telling you, I have had a belly full of the fan transfer portal. Okay.
All right, hold on. We're getting into
Jesus.
that. We're getting into that. Let me
We're not there
transition
yet.
out of
Hold on.
Florida State. Yeah, let me transition out of Florida State. So, all right,
Okay.
we're done.
Okay.
Florida State,
Okay.
don't panic.
Hey,
Andy,
wait,
the boys
wait,
are going to
wait.
turn it around.
This is the other thing I don't understand about these idiots in Tallahassee. These players out here done asked the band not to play the war chant on third down. They want to hear DJ music. Man, get out of here. If you don't like it, leave. Go play at Liberty or somewhere where they play the radio. I'm sorry, not Liberty. Northwestern.
Jesus.
Somewhere out.
man.
Go back to the West Coast with a DJ, man. Get out of here with that junk. All right, go ahead. I'm ready now.
Hey,
That was
in Athens,
shot
we
of my
just
alma mater.
do both. We just do both.
That's what
We
I'm
do the
saying,
band
man,
and the
but how-
music.
You can do whatever, but not whatever, but you can do that. But don't come to me on a third down where you need to rise up and you don't want to hear that war chant and you're nah, man, whatever. Hook 'em horns.
Soft.
Anyways, I did
Let's
see
go.
that, though. They
Let's go,
scolded
let's
the
go.
band. But,
All right, let's move on
yeah,
from
not
that. Y'all
panicking
gonna
on
get my
Florida
blood
State.
pressure up.
They're gonna turn things around. Big game against Cal this Saturday in Tallahassee, 7:00. I think Florida State does it. I think they get their first win of the year against Cal. I'm gonna.
Also, why y'all
keep
keep scheduling games at the beginning of the year where nobody else is playing, so the whole country's watching you? Let's play on Labor Day. Let's play
You don't want that
in
pressure.
Ireland. Let's go to Ireland and play so the whole world is watching you. What an idiot.
We need to have an episode solely for Andy where he can just come on here. And
Have
just
they not
vent
seen
about
that
Florida
movie,
State.
The Longest Yard, where where they tell the man you're supposed to schedule a rinky-dink team for the beginning of the year and just beat the crap out of somebody? No. Guess who we play next year? First game, Alabama.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're
I did not
idiots.
know that.
They're idiots.
Oh man.
Why do you think
Trying to build that
LSU
strength of
Iowa?
schedule, boy. They're trying to get that
Trying to
number one
build
strength of
something.
schedule.
They better find some more players
Jeez.
before they get it. Let's go.
Don't they start playing Georgia soon in the regular season too?
Who
They're
cares?
supposed
Isn't that
to
coming
in
up?
it's supposed to be
It was supposed
27,
to be
28.
27, 28.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
If that
You
happens,
don't
I'm
think
out.
so?
I was like, yo,
You
you
know
ain't
how
gonna see
crazy
me
that's
that
going to
weekend.
be for like our area of Cairo.
I don't with the
That's
new
pretty wild.
12 team playoff. I don't. I mean, maybe it does, but I think you're going to see some games like that back away because it's really going to. I think what you're going to start seeing is do you want to see Georgia FSU in the regular season or do you want to see them in the playoff?
You ain't gonna see us in the playoff.
Yes, you.
What they gonna do? Change it from 12 teams to 112, and then we'll be in.
Oh, here we go. 112 team playoff. Man,
That's
oh
what they need
man.
to do. They just need to do like FCS does and just like bracket play, just all the way like the huge bracket. But
Yeah.
okay. Anyways, all right. Well, Florida State, more power to him. Andy's riding. He's chomping on or chopping on. So we'll see how he continue on there. But now we need to get into another game. It was dicey. It was real dicey. Georgia versus Kentucky. Georgia takes a trip down to Lexington, Kentucky, and squeaks away with a 13-12 win over the Wildcats. And so let me first start by saying this before we get into the recap of that game. There's a lot of people that are watching this episode right now. There's Brian sitting here in this podcast. And a lot of people at my own church told me that if Georgia was to lose that game against Kentucky, the sole responsibility of that was on me. It was 100% my fault because I made the transition from Florida to Georgia, and it was completely my fault. However, the boys pulled through for me. I feel like they did it for me.
They don't even know you. You've been here
Kirby,
for 2 minutes. They ain't
but
heard
you know what?
cheering for them.
They would have known me if they would have lost because everybody would have been sending mail to Kirby. Like, don't worry, Kirby. It's all right. This little pipsqueak down in Cairo cost you that game. We'll take that one on the chin. Oh, they'd have known me then.
Hey,
But now that we won, now they don't know me. So
Kirby's from Bainbridge. He might know you. He'll come
Brian is, Brian is in I don't know if he's still in a tizzy about me switching in general or just the fact that Kentucky almost beat Georgia. I don't know. It's a big deal. I don't know. But
Very big
Georgia
deal.
did beat Kentucky. Yeah, it's a very big deal. So, Well, we'll start with you, Brian. What were your thoughts on the game? What were your thoughts on the whole experience? How have you been the last 2 weeks that we've talked about all this?
Not good. Not good. um, Difficult things continue to happen in my life. It's not just football related. We've had some things thrown at us over the last couple of weeks that can only be explained away by your transition. I stay in a constant state of paranoia. I watched the game with you guys on Saturday. Probably the most uncomfortable I've been in a long time. I have been uncomfortable before. And I've shared this with y'all. Like, I don't typically never have watched Georgia games with a bunch of Georgia fans. I know that sounds weird, but it's just like a superstitious kind of, I told Brent, me and Brandon had a conversation about this, and I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but like, I'm a terrible person during the game. Like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to joke. I just want to watch the game, and whatever happens, happens. Okay? I have people that text me during the game. Like, my phone is face down. Like, I will check my phone like at quarters. I will check my phone at halftime. But you want to know why I leave my phone face down? Because I'm terrified that somebody streaming is 10 seconds ahead of mine and that they're going to tell me what happened before I see it with my own eyes. I have a problem. And I don't know how to make myself more comfortable about this particular situation, but Saturday was awful. It was terrible. The fact that we were losing, what was it, 9-6 at halftime or 6-3?
Yeah.
9-6?
9-6, I think, yeah.
9-6 at halftime. The offense is absolutely abysmal.
67 yards of total offense.
Abysmal. I mean, they flash up the stat on the screen like the least yards in the first half since, like, I don't know, 1903 or something ridiculous. And all I could think, inside, it's Brandon's fault.
Just a
100%
defensive
Brandon's
right
fault.
next to you.
You're sitting beside me, and all I can think inside is it's his fault. It's 100% on him. You know, our friendship ends today. This is it. This is the last time I'm going to see him. Last time I'm going to talk to him. There's nothing. We don't have to button anything up. The podcast is done. It is what it is. So he leaves at halftime, and I still wasn't relieved, because it was like the damage was already done. And Georgia came back and squeaked it out. And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to football, now I've watched some crazy Georgia games. We've won natties, believe it or not. We finally won some. I've sat through the Ohio State Georgia game when Crystal and I and the girls, we were in Arizona for a trip. And me and Crystal watched that game together. And, man, if they had cameras in that place, oh, my Lord. Me and Crystal were just a bundle of just chaos and nerves. This was worse. This past Saturday was worse. I'm thankful we won because we can still be friends for now.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what's going to get me over the hump. Like, I know you said Saturday, you felt like they did it for you, and I'm still not at peace about it. Like, I don't know if I just can't believe it, if it just still feels so icky. I don't know.
This man came to life after halftime. That's all I'm saying.
I'm in a mess, dude.
After you left.
Now, I was dealing with some TV issues. We were also trying to stream the UFC fights, and I was trying to get 2 TVs going. So I was dealing with that a lot of the first half too. So, I apologize for that. But the rest of it, I'm locked into the game. I'm watching the game. And if we win, I can live with it. If we lose, I can live with it. It's the in-between that I'm terrible at. I am terrible during the game.
I mean, you didn't say a word, and I knew that, the quietness was simply for the fact of Georgia was losing. But then I was like, there is a small chance that he's sitting here next to me ready to just choke me out. Like
But
he's
you
ready
have to
like,
go through games like that in a season. You have
Yeah.
to go through those
Yeah,
defensive
like-
battles like that, and they came out on top.
Yeah,
But I'd rather
Kentucky
go
has
through them
played
without. But I want to go through them without something to blame it on. You know what I'm saying? If Brandon had not done this, this is just on Georgia. I can live with losses. I did it for 40 years. I can live with Georgia losing. I can't deal with Georgia losing because Brandon broke an unwritten rule and cursed our program from now until the end of time. That's what I can't live with.
No. So let me ask you this. What happens? Georgia has a bye week this week, and I love how Georgia and Cairo kind of like align their schedules. But then next week they go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama.
You'll be watching that one from your house.
Well, yeah, we will. But, I stand on the same thing that Lee Corso said at the beginning of the year. I don't think any team is going to finish the regular season undefeated. I think every team's going to have a loss. That's Georgia included as well. So when that loss happens, I hope it doesn't, but let's just say theoretically, if it happens against Alabama or against Texas or, whenever it happens down the road, what's going to be the reason then? Is it still Brandon's fault?
Your fault.
Or is it still like, no, we played a tough team? Because I think it was Kentucky.
I think you try to blame it on Lee Corso.
No,
he
I'm
said everybody's going to have a
I'm
loss.
not.
You're trying to take the heat off of you. That's what you're doing. This is you.
Let me have my moment, Andy. Let me have my moment. I mean, I just don't think I can't, as a new Georgia fan, be sitting every Saturday on pins and needles praying that God, please let Georgia win, because if not, I'm fixing to get crucified on social media again.
Welcome to the last 40 years. No, nobody hates anybody more than people hate the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know why. Like non-Georgia Bulldog fans, man, for years we would just lose like on a we'd be like 7-5, just lose on a random Saturday afternoon and just get crucified on because we would say positive things like there's always next year and it's always great to be a Bulldog, and we'd say cute little things like that. We didn't mean it. We wanted to win just like everybody else, right? So I don't know, man. Like, it's not all on you. Like, I'm a realist too. Alabama's a really good football team. We're going into their stadium, right? Do I hope we can win? Absolutely. I would be less likely to pin that on you. The Kentucky game's inexcusable. That was your fault.
So it's according to who the team is, right?
Well,
so if it's like Alabama or Texas, it's understandable. But a Kentucky,
you're not off the hook that easy, because it depends on if it's something like fruity that happens in the Alabama game, fluky, something that like kick six, carry them off the cornerback shoulders and Auburn runs it into the end zone last play, like something like 2nd and 26. I mean, you get into something like that, then it's back on you.
What if that interception that got called back, that was called a touchdown and got reviewed and got called back, if that happened, would that be on him? Was that what you're talking about? Stuff like that?
Yes. Yes.
Well, you was this close.
So I'm just going to be living in fear for the rest of the season. So what's it going to take? And I said this to you, I don't remember when I said it, but I said, if Georgia wins a natty this year, then I'll be the lucky charm.
You
right?
can't claim it. You started the season as week one.
If I can
you
be
were
in
on
the
the
crosshairs,
No.
If I can be in the crosshairs by every Georgia fan if Georgia loses. I was in the crosshairs even Saturday night against Kentucky. I had people on social media, on Facebook, saying, like, your privileges are getting revoked if they lose. I had church members coming at me on Sunday going, hey, if we would have lost that game, I was fixing to walk outside and take the Georgia tag off your truck. Like, it was all riding on my shoulders, and I don't want to feel that way.
Do you see any other genuine Georgia fans' fandom being threatened to be revoked? No, only the ones that transfer from Florida. Do you understand? Like that? I mean, this. You can't convince me that this is normal. I'm trying to get used to it. I'm trying to digest it. I don't want to put the weight of these games on you, but you cannot sit here and pretend like this is normal.
So when does it end? Because look,
I don't know.
The leading rusher in the Kentucky game, guess who it was? An ex-Florida Gator.
I don't know. See, we're not talking about players. Players come and go, coaches come and go, whatever. I'm talking about fans don't come and go. They don't. That's what a fan is. You stick with your team. You have not stuck with your team.
You went about it all wrong, Brandon. That's what you did. You should have waited till the end of this year and then just started slowly creeping your way in. You can't just, hey, here I am, week 2. I'm in the house.
I agree. I actually agree with Andy on that. Like, I feel like we're going to have to get through this. We're going to have to get through this year. Like, if we win it all, you don't get the credit. If we don't win it all, it's on you. Now, moving into next year, we kind of just have to. We just have to start living with. I'm not going to blame it on you forever, but we got. I mean, we're walking on thin ice right now, brother. I mean, we just are.
No, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say that.
See, but you're already thinking it, and this is my problem.
No. I'm not thinking that. I'm just not. I'm not even going to say it. But we'll save that for another time. But yeah, I there's no way I could have went the whole season with Florida then transition to Georgia because I've been so
what you think
backing
I'm doing?
Of the Gators.
Look at me.
I've been so backing of the Gators, but you've been a Georgia fan before. It's not like you've already jumped ship. Like you've already not been loyal. Like you were a Georgia fan, went to a Florida State fan, now you're Texas Longhorns.
Baby.
Pipe yourself down. But like I was like so protective of the Gators for the 7 years that I've lived here. Like it was the same, like always back and forth banter between myself and Brian and even Andy. Like, man, Florida sucks. But I would give you every reason as to why we don't. And I finally, after the Miami game, I ran out of reasons. I ran out of excuses. And I've been so immersed in the Georgia Bulldog culture for 7 years that I've grown to like it. I've grown to love it.
What you going to do in the next 7 years if Georgia starts falling down to that path? Which
I'm going to ride with them. Because here's the thing. Up here when I've been like battling for Florida and protecting them, I've been doing it. It feels like I've been alone. Like I feel like I've been alone on an island. And I get this army of Bulldog fans that they don't run solo. They run in packs, and they will gang up on you, and they will run you over in a heartbeat.
That's why it's called the dog pound, boy.
That's why that's their MO. But for the 7 years I've lived here, I've learned a lot about the Georgia Bulldog culture and Georgia Bulldog history and the program and stuff, and I've learned to like it. And I like Kirby Smart. I think he's a great coach. I've liked him since he's been at Georgia, and so then I was like, you know what, you
like Kirby Smart when he is eviscerating Florida every October. You like Kirby Smart.
I think he's a good coach. I mean, I can recognize a good coach even if he's beating.
You said you liked him. I understand. I respect Nick Saban. I didn't like him.
I mean, I like Nick Saban. But, you're saying, okay. No, I still
like him. Everybody. You like everybody.
Yeah,
you like Billy?
Good.
You like
and
Billy?
You get a team. And you get a team. And I like you. And I like you. Let me check out the top 25 and pick another team and another team.
No.
This is crazy.
That's not what this is. That is not what this is.
I
moved to Georgia.
You're a football fan.
I moved to Georgia from Florida. And again, for 7 years now, I've just gotten immersed in the Georgia Bulldog culture. And I love it. And I want to be a part of it. I want to ride with people and root for a team and go through the highs and lows. And I mean, I'll go as far as if I never would have moved to Georgia, obviously this probably would have never happened.
So you're gonna be a Brave? You pulling for the Braves next, or what?
No, one thing at a time. No, I'm just Georgia. Georgia Bulldogs is it.
Okay.
Because I have yet to meet someone up here in Georgia that cares more for the Braves than they do the Bulldogs. It's the exact opposite. They care more for the Bulldogs than they do the Braves. The fact that the Braves won a World Series a few years ago, they were like, oh, that's great, awesome. Hadn't done that in a while. Then it was right back to Georgia. because it was like right in the middle of football season. So
That's
like
probably
I
a
said,
valid point. You make a valid point there. I'll give you that.
So I you know, I want to be, I guess more than anything is I just want to be accepted. Like I want to be, and I know that may take some time, but I just want to know, like, is there light at the end of this dark tunnel that I'm in? Because I thought what I was doing was a good decision for me and for my family. Okay. If we want to just get real personal. And then I was like, now that I'm here, I'm like, dang, I feel like the same people that I was running to for support are now coming after me. And they're like wanting me to like turn back and go the other way.
No.
Like I don't feel any acceptance.
See, that's where you have to be careful, because this ain't about you and it ain't about me.
Oh, it sure was going to be if Kentucky.
No. This is about the University of Georgia Bulldogs. That's who this is about. This is bigger than me and you. I can live with it. You can live with it. But if my Georgia Bulldogs start suffering because of this, then I got a problem.
I don't think they are. I don't think they are.
I mean, you can't. Are you telling me? I mean, you recognize some of the greatest curses in sports.
You don't know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they happen, right?
You know what? You know what this reminds me of? Like when you start talking about the curse. I don't remember what that guy's name is, but he was part of it. You know the guy that caught that foul ball that shouldn't have been a foul ball for the Chicago Cubs?
Yep.
And he had like the
Bart.
That's what this feels like. And like
the
Cubs, the Cubs for so many years blamed him for their reason of not reaching the World Series. And then finally in 2000 and whatever, 16, 15, 17, whenever it was, won the World Series. They finally got the monkey off their back.
They still hate that joker. Like, I don't think he even goes out.
And they still hate him. But
Steve Bartman, that was his name.
Steve Bartman, there it is. Yeah. But I'm not comparing myself to him. I think that's because I haven't done anything to put myself in the same shoes as Steve. Like I didn't like alter a game. I haven't done that. I mean, as far as I see it, people want to blame me for the Kentucky game, but we won.
You walked out of Florida's locker room and walked into Georgia's and was like, "Hey guys."
No, Trevor Etienne did that. Trevor did that. And no one seems to bat an eye about Trevor. Georgia fans accepted Trevor with open arms. You imagine if Kirby would have treated Trevor the same way y'all are treating me and be like, you just can't leave the Gators and come to Georgia? Bro, he's going to wear that block G and come strutting his stuff into Gainesville or into Jacksonville when they play Florida and run for 250 yards. That's exactly what's going to happen. But no one's going to care. All Georgia fans are going to be cheering him on. But I want to cheer for Georgia now. And I get it. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. I'm not underplaying that by any means, but it's just like at some point I need to have some reassurance of like the Georgia Bulldog fan base is going to be like, hey, everything's okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got to know what's it going to take?
Time.
I can't answer that question.
Time and like nothing crazy or silly happening. Alabama can beat us, but if they're going to beat us, it needs to just beat us. I can live with that. Nothing superstitious, nothing flaky, nothing fluky. Just if you're going to beat us, beat us. Same thing with Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee. I mean, that's the thing is that, Georgia, and again, I try to keep a realistic perspective. I don't love what I'm seeing on the offensive side of the ball. As much as I would love for Georgia to go undefeated, playoff, all this kind of stuff, I'll be honest with you. Sitting here right now today, I think Georgia just as easily could be 9-3, 10-2 at the end of this season. We got a tough schedule.
Anymore.
Okay.
You don't have to be undefeated anymore, though. That's the thing.
What if we don't make the playoff, Andy? What if we don't even make the playoff? Is that not Brandon's fault?
No.
Yeah.
So you
Yes,
already admit.
but how does that happen?
You already admitted. Shut up, Andy. You've already admitted that we could go 9-3 or 10-2.
Okay.
That was before Brandon. That was before Brandon.
No.
But now.
No. Because of what Brandon did that affected us in the Kentucky game, and our offense has now disappeared. Now we have a problem.
No.
Problem. Got a problem.
I disagree. I don't. I don't think so. I think Georgia could easily. I mean, they have a week off to fix things. Obviously, I mean, even Kirby said in his post game interview, he said, obviously the guys did not respond to the message that was brought to them this week before Kentucky. Basically, his message was to them was, you can't sleep on a Kentucky team like this, going on the road, playing them in their stadium at night. You can't take them for granted. And I think they did. I think they did. So I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what else needs to happen. I mean, if I just want to be able to, me, you, and Andy, and whoever, all of our friends to come together. Well, let's not even get into that. Let's get into, I just want to be able to sit down with you, Brian, watch a football game, and Georgia scores, and be able to just look at you and high five you, and just know in your heart that
we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
I just want to.
We're going to get there.
Just
I don't know.
You don't need to know when. Just be patient. You said you was patient. Be a patient guy. Let's go. If you waited 7 years, you can wait. You can wait a little longer.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
We're going to get there.
Well, we'll just keep this debate and this whole thing going and going. So Georgia did sneak away with a win against Kentucky. They get a week off. They get this Saturday off, and then they got to go to Alabama to take on the Crimson Tide.
Can I get a score prediction real fast or no?
Oh,
Brian, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I want to hear the new guys. I got 27-17 Dogs.
31-24 Dogs.
Okay.
Or 31-28 Dogs. I think it's close. I think it comes down to like a field goal. So,
Jesus Christ.
What am I supposed to say, Brian? Oh, Dogs by 1,000,000. I mean,
Dogs by 50. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I mean, I want them to win, but I want to be realistic. So
I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, right in there, 30-something to high 20s. It's going to be a good game. But that's what worries me about Georgia's offense right now. Like, I honestly, based on what we saw against Kentucky, man, I don't know. I don't know if we can score 30 points on Alabama. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But they got a week off, so we'll see how they do. So hopefully you guys enjoy the other games that they have going on. Again, Florida State's taking on Cal. A lot of other cool games coming up. One game to look out for this Saturday to look to is USC versus Michigan. That'll be in Ann Arbor. Be a good game. So top 15 or top 20 matchup there, 11-18. USC's 11, Michigan's 18. So it should be a good game. But again, Cairo has a week off as well, just like Georgia. Then they go and take on Bainbridge. We'll have another episode that drops before the Bainbridge game, so stay looking for that. And then we'll have some more predictions and more score stuff that we'll look at as Georgia gets ready to take on Alabama next week as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Four Bros podcast. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you in the next one.
Welcome.
Peace
See
out.
you.